Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Rivera, and I'll be applying for the exercise physiologist position at UC Health in Colorado Springs. In this position, the exercise physiologist is required to develop exercise prescription, oversee exercise progression as well as current abilities in patients, and perform diagnostic tests for patients. Some of the tasks that the physiologist is responsible for doing is to monitor, assess, and treat, as well as document patients' tolerance to exercise in accordance with the company's policies and procedures. The physiologist also provides exercise prescription for patients, which utilizes their assessment data, their current health status, and any current medications they may be taking. With this information, they are required to update any prescriptions and or develop prescriptive progressive exercise. They're also required to recognize contraindications to exercise and abnormal patient responses to exercise, and then respond appropriately depending on the situation. Finally, their last part of this role specifically is to provide exercise and disease management education and information to patients, peers within the work center, as well as the community. So why am I a good fit for this role? Well, last 11 years I've been working in the military, and then prior to that I worked in a hospital's outpatient surgery center. I've worked nothing but with various groups of patients from different ethnicities and various age groups, all the way from teenagers all the way to 80-year-old retirees. And this has helped me to do exactly that last piece, to provide exercise and disease management education for patients, peers, as well as our community. In the military role, I've started at a E1. I worked my way all the way up to E6 in the last 11 years. And so that's given me this very unique ability to lead effectively, but also follow effectively. As an E1, I set the standard for my peers, and I rose early as a leader amongst my peers. And even though I was only an E1 or even through E4, those are very junior ranks, I held leadership roles in all those. And I was able to effectively do a one-up, one-down transition of leadership. So that means I was able to lead my next subordinate effectively, but I was also to help lead my direct supervisor effectively. So I have no issues working with diverse groups of people, because in the military, we come from all over the world. It's not just one city where we all just come from. I've worked with people from all the way from North Carolina to Cuba, and all over the world. So having that ability to work with diverse groups of people is going to help me in this role, because you never know who's walking through that door and is going to need your help. I'm able to work with that person regardless and find common ground as well. The current degrees and certifications that I hold right now, I just recently graduated from American Military University with a bachelor's in sports and health sciences. I also have an associate's in business administration, and I currently have my basic lifesaver certification from the American Red Cross. During my time at American Military University, exercise physiology was probably my favorite class, or at least one of, in accordance with exercise programming and testing. Those two classes, all that I learned in those two courses, directly related to exercise physiology. And it just so happens that in my personal time, I invest a lot of effort, time, and energy into cardiorespiratory training. I'm an endurance runner. I've been running ultra marathons for the last two and a half years, and cardiorespiratory training has pretty much been my foundation of personal discipline and personal excellence. So I believe I'll be able to take that passion, that purpose, that drive, and that intrinsic motivation from my personal interest and provide it strictly to our patients that walk through the door. Part of my resume, my most recent position was a cybersecurity supervisor at the 561st NOS. While my role in cybersecurity is not directly related to being an exercise physiologist at UC Health, how that experience does translate is I have very good oral, written communication skills, and I'm very well versed in all the Microsoft applications, Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint. I'm able to use all that stuff effectively without any issues. In fact, I can help lead if we need to in that area. So when it comes to writing reports, providing presentations to the community to inform people of the community or inform the peers in the office center or our patients, for me, that won't be any issue. I'll be able to take that experience and bring it here to UC Health seamlessly. I've also worked as a master resiliency trainer, and resiliency is a huge part of who I am as a person, and I believe it's strictly going to correlate to our patients because a lot of the situations they're dealing with, resiliency is a foundational aspect to recovery. And if you don't have that mental capacity and that mental ability to bounce back from hard situations, adverse situations or scenarios, or maybe a health setback, life's a lot harder without that ability. So I'm able to take that information and provide that educational piece to our patients as well. And then finally, I've been a physical training leader ever since I stepped foot into the military, helping people with exercise, providing prescriptive exercise, training people. I have no issues building that relationship with people, to build that trust, build that rapport, build that loyalty, to get people to understand and be willing to listen and be vulnerable with me so that I can help them get to their goals. So some of the personal traits and characteristics that are going to make me fit perfectly in this organization: first of all, perspective and compassion. I come from very different places. I was born in New Jersey. I was raised in North Carolina. I lived many years in Florida. I lived overseas. I've worked with a lot of different people in a lot of different scenarios, whether that be social scenarios or just actual geographical scenarios. I have no issues working with anybody, and I'm able to step outside of my own perspective and look at life from their perspective. And that has been a fascinating tool for me to build empathy and build rapport and build relationships with people. I'm also very adaptable. In the military, you have to be. You have no choice. You might be a cybersecurity supervisor, but you're probably also going to be a physical training leader. You might also be a sexual response advocator. You wear a lot of different hats, so you have to be adaptable. And as well as people are constantly going in and out the door. We're deploying, we're going TDY, people are exiting the military, people are coming in brand new with no training. You have to be adaptable to all those situations. You got to think on your feet, be on your toes at all times, be ready to answer, and step foot forward to any situation. My decision making goes hand in hand with that adaptability. You have to be able to make decisions quickly sometimes, under pressure. And I have no ability making those decisions. And then what helps me support that ability is my ability to be accountable. I don't always make the right decision. However, I have no issues owning up to those mistakes if they are made and learning from them. And I feel like there's no failure in life. The only times you fail in life are when you don't learn from a mistake. And so that accountability piece has helped me grow consistently from a young airman to a technical sergeant, to a young man, to a grown man. And lastly, I'm just a very organized individual. Everything I do, it's organized, it's structured. My day-to-day plan, everything I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, there's organization to it. There's a structure to it. I like things tidy. I like things organized. However, when they aren't, I'm able to adapt and remain flexible and adjust. So those are some personal traits and characteristics that really help me and separate me from my peers. And my personal philosophy is I'm an extremely driven human being. And you ask people, well, you're driven, but by what? Everyone says they're driven, but by what? Well, I'm a purposeful and passionate leader. My passion is people. I love helping people. I've done it my whole life. I'm just a natural born leader. I have 3 younger brothers. Since the time they were born, I've been thrust into the role whether I wanted to be there or not. Everything I do, it comes from inside. So I'm not somebody that needs to come to work and has to be motivated by somebody else. I'm a self-starter. I get up, I get going, I find my reason. Before I even get there, I know why I'm showing up. And I'm able to take that passion, take that purpose, and push it into a mission to help secure objectives. For any questions for the employer, I would just like to know, how do you measure success? How is it measured by the institution? What do you guys want to see? and what's the measuring stick. I like to know where the measuring stick is, because what gets measured gets done. So I want to know what I need to get done in order to be a rising performer within the company. And I like to know about the company culture. What's the team like? What's the company like? What are the company's missions? What are the company's objectives? What's their 5-year plan? So I can see how I fit into that future. And then lastly, what are our professional development pathways? I'm never somebody who's going to step into one scenario and I want to stay an exercise physiologist forever. No, I want to move up. I want to grow in that position, and I want to eventually move out of that position and help others to fall into that position and then lead them from another position. So those are the questions that I would have. Thank you for this opportunity. I look forward to hearing back.